our Lord and Savior Minarchy. No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRNradio.
Are you ready to reach for the stars? Tune in to The Lost Wanderer, the #1 monthly podcast on good pods in astronomy. Join our host, Jeff, as he takes you on an interstellar adventure to explore the mysteries of space and the wonders of science. From rocket launches and distant galaxies to the latest discoveries in astronomy, each episode is a thrilling ride through the cosmos. Don't just gaze at the stars, come explore the universe with us. Follow The Lost Wanderer wherever you get your podcasts, and let's discover the stars together.
Celebrity designer Jeff Lewis is back with Hollywood House Lift.
I'm excited to be working with new clients.
I'm not getting rid of that.
I hope I never see you both again.
An all-new season.
Those have to go. That has to go.
From oh, wow,
It's been an actual nightmare.
to oh, wow.
This is such an upgrade.
With celebrities like Josh Duhamel, Christina Ricci, and Gina Rodriguez.
Dazzle me, Jeff.
It looks like Chuck E. Cheese.
Stream an all-new season of Hollywood House Lift with Jeff Lewis, now streaming on Freevee.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of He Said, She Said. I am your hostess for this evening, Aggie, and with me is my other co host, our very awesome Rowdy Rick. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm so sorry. The part of Rick is now being played by Shrek the Ogre.
Well, you're going to have to do the accent too.
I tried, but I have a horse, so it didn't work very well. So
Okay. Well,
I usually do it better than that, but it didn't come out right. So I'm not going to try to keep that bit going. So anyway.
well, I know you were a little bit under the weather.
It seems
So
like I stay that way lately, and I don't like it.
I think it's also due to the transition, the allergens in the air, and transition of seasons, and you did mention you had been to several birthday
Yeah,
parties. So yeah.
we had Gracie's birthday party not this past Saturday, but Saturday before, and then I had my middle grandson's birthday party was on Saturday, and then my aunt's birthday party was on Sunday, and then I woke up Monday and just felt like somebody ran me over with a truck. So yay!
Wow. Okay. I'm running a little low on steam as well, but that's only because I've been running myself ragged with everything that's been going on this past 3 months. I think right after Easter, I'll be able to breathe again. I'm not
You know
sure.
you jinxed yourself, right?
I do this to myself every year. This is all my fault. I know it. I know this is my fault. But I love to host friends and everything. It has been a lot of fun. And I believe, oh, wait, no, I take that back. I'll be traveling after Easter. So, yeah,
It's
I'm going to go paint a few rooms at my daughter's house.
always something with you. It's always something with you.
I know, but you know me. I love to paint stuff. I do that. So, I'm actually very much looking forward to doing this. I love it's the Hispanic in me. I got to paint color in a house. So, you know, I walked into my daughter's house and I was like, this is not even the industrial beige. This is like a cold light gray color. Why? And she said that it's no longer industrial beige went out with the 90s or something. Now it's that cool light gray. That's the standard. And I was like, why didn't you ask for industrial beige? At least it would have been warm. She was like, oh no, that's for old people. I was like, I almost threw something at her.
Well, I mean, the thing that drives me nuts, and she's not wrong, the modern color palette is just weird though, because it's that way with everything now. I mean, hell, look at the difference between McDonald's today versus McDonald's when we were raising kids, or
Oh,
even
yes.
when we were kids.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's like this new weird kind of gray color is like the center of everything, and I think that's half the reason why half the country's depressed all the time. Everything's always gray and boring now.
I do think that you do bring up a really good point, and that should be a topic for a future he said she said because I have a lot of opinions about that stuff. Having
You,
studied that kind of stuff, I have a lot
you,
of opinions.
you opinions? Nah.
Oh
Who would
yes.
have thunk?
Oh yeah.
Who would have thunk Aggie has opinions?
I know, right? It's so unusual for me to actually be opinionated about anything.
Yeah. Okay. Um. Damn, I
Okay,
should
I
have worn
couldn't
my.
keep a straight
I
face.
I I, I should have worn my boots into the studio tonight. I
Yeah,
think
you
it's
should
getting a
have
little deep.
brought a shovel too.
Getting a little deep in here. But anyway, so for some reason, my lovely co-host has decided to torture herself because she's still in the middle of Lent, but
Yes.
wants to talk about food for some reason today.
Yep.
And I don't want to get stabbed, so we're gonna let her talk about what she wants to talk about. So
Well, I just thought, it, we've done this before where we talk about food and everything, and um, but tastes evolved, and we learn new techniques, and we learn new dishes and everything. And I thought you and I both talked about talking about side dishes since Easter's coming up, and
yeah,
boy howdy, Easter is coming up, and I just cannot wait. I already have plans for the cake.
nice.
I have plans for the cake filling, the cake frosting, and I'll be drinking mimosas as I'm doing this. I hope you know that. I'll probably
Oh
take
well, I mean,
pictures.
if I didn't, now everybody else does. But yeah, I already knew.
I know. It's it's my standard. I mean, usually for Easter, I will make a brunch, and then have a late lunch, early dinner. Um, but it's just my husband and myself this year, so we're just steamrolling right over brunch and going straight to a lunch, and so I'll be cooking right after church. We have sunrise service, so it'll be earlier for me. So by the time I get home, I can just start cooking and everything. But I already have the champagne in the in the refrigerator. I have everything all set. I cannot wait. Can you tell?
No, I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, everybody knows that during Lent I tend to give up A few things. I give up all alcohol, sodas, junk food, fast food, and all sweets. And this year, I really had to do it because, as y'all know, my mom came to visit me for a few weeks. And when my mom was here, she took over the kitchen. I was quite happy to let her do that because it kept her happy. But that meant that she was feeding us like 3 times a day, and I'm like, I only eat like once a day. So I got used to eating 3 times a day, and I ended up having to go out and purchase new jeans because I couldn't fit in my old ones. I was wearing sweatpants the entire time. I mean, it was bad. But now that
Around here we don't. Around here we don't call those comfy sweatpants. We call those comfy pants.
comfy pants, yes. So I was
Yeah.
wearing a lot of comfy pants. But yeah, it's funny because my mom asked me a few days ago if I was doing the crazy thing again. Now, keep in mind, she's a devout Catholic as well, but she only gives up one physical thing and one habit. So she'll give up two things, right?
Mhm.
So, but it was very hard for her this year because she couldn't think of a habit to give up. Because because my mom, once she gives something up, she'll keep that going. It's not just during Lent; it's like a permanent thing. So she was having a bit of trouble figuring out her habit. And so I told her, "How about the habit you have of like calling everybody in Puerto Rico all the time?" She didn't think it was funny. I did, but she didn't.
Yeah, you about got the
Oh,
chunker.
that woman calls them like 4 or 5 times a day. She's calling all of her sisters and everything. I said, just let them call you for once. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to stop talking to them. I'm just saying, let them do the calling from now on. And so I think that's what she did for the habit. So, but so she asked me if I was doing the whole crazy thing again. I said, yes, I'm doing the whole crazy thing. And then she just sighs and says, I guess when I see you, I'm going to start having to feed you again. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, please, Mom, by all that is holy, to have mercy on me. But she's already thinking about what to make when I go visit her. Because after I pay my daughter's house, I'm going to drive down and visit my mom for a few days and then come back up.
Did I ever tell you what I gave up for Lent?
No, what did you give up for Lent?
I gave up giving up.
My husband said cooking. And I was like, "Wait, you don't cook in the house? I do the cooking." He's like, "Yeah, no. It's pretty easy to give that up."
He was phoning it in, man. So I see we're well past St. Patrick's Day now because our resident leprechaun is back from Irish Witness Protection.
Oh,
Hi
yes.
Z, how you doing, Z?
You're so mean to her.
Yeah, well,
She's a petite flower like me. That's the way I like to view it, I think. But anyway.
my
So,
name's Bennett, and I ain't in it. How you doing?
so, but yes, I have lost quite a bit of weight. We were discussing this before the show, and I think I underestimated how much weight I have lost because I'm now fitting into my smaller size pants. I keep my clothes, especially the pants, because I never know when I'm gonna gain weight. I never know when I'm gonna lose weight. I just don't know. But I'm in the size fours now, which is nice. But
Holy crap!
no, after Easter, I'm going back to six. I
I'm
know
I'm
it.
over I'm over here in a 44, and you're like, I'm in a size 4. Now, granted, guys' size and women's size are different, but still, I feel like I need to fire up the Fat Albert theme at this point. Jesus.
Oh, it's not that bad. It is not that bad. But yeah, it's so we'll see. We'll see how this next week progresses because that is some people say, it's the home stretch and I'm like, yeah, it's the home stretch, and that's like, that's Holy Week. So we'll have, yeah, I do a complete fast on Friday and then an observance on Saturday. So those 2 days, which is why I'm so ravenous by Easter.
Gee, I can't imagine why.
I know. But yeah, so oh yes, Bit, I still have clothes from the 80s too, and they're back in fashion. I am very happy about that.
Nice.
So anyway, I guess we should get started on our topic for this evening, which is our favorite side dishes. Which, by the way, I think we did side dishes before, but all of mine have changed. I don't know about you. I don't know if you remember.
I mean, if we have, it's been a minute. So, but yeah. And no, a lot of mine are still the same, but that's okay.
I just I started following an account, um, and it's Coco Larkin Cooks, and so I started following her account, and she's she always cooks, and she cooks with like her whole heart. It's like Ina Garten. So so I started following her, and I have elevated potatoes to a whole new level. So yeah, like if I could have done all of 5 potatoes, I would have, because I love potatoes, but I decided to actually throw in some stuff in there that was not potatoes, but yeah. So that's why mine have changed, because I just decided, we're retired now. I have time to actually look at the Pinterest board that I have been setting up for so many years now, because you go and you look at a recipe and, oh, I'll pin that, and then you forget about it. So I actually went back to my Pinterest board and I found some stuff that I had obviously saved for the express purpose of making it. And so I started, you know, doing it. And I've really gotten into the whole, let's make something different today. And that's where I'm at now. So all of my side dishes that I used to like be the standards, the solid ones and everything, I put those aside. Now I'm doing some other things. It's the weirdest thing, but it has been fun. So yeah. See, Bit remembers the I did do side dishes last fall prior to Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
So
we did it right before Thanksgiving.
yeah. So but
But
these are all brand new for me. These are all brand new for me. So anyway,
eh, some of mine will be retreads, but it's all right. Anyway, so what do you got for us first?
I'm going from 5 to 1. Do you have 5 or do you have just a few? Or do
I
you
have
care?
more than 5, but it doesn't
Okay.
matter.
I do too. I have 2 honorable mentions. So for number 5, I do asparagus. So I actually fry it in olive oil. Like I saute it in olive oil and with salt and pepper, and then but okay. So it's not olive oil. Well, I gotta backtrack. I actually cook bacon first, and I make sure that it's very crispy, and then in the rendered fat, I will put the asparagus with salt and pepper and let that cook until it's very bright green, and then I'll toss the broken up bacon back in it, and I serve that as a side dish. And it's, I have to wait until there's asparagus here because I live in the hinterlands of Texas, and so I can't be guaranteed to have asparagus all the time. But that was it. It's actually a relatively easy side dish to make, and it looks pretty because of the colors. you know so it's probably one of the more popular. So when the kids are here or whatever, and I have asparagus on hand, fresh asparagus, then that's what I make, because I know I won't have any leftovers, and it's good for you, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not a fan of asparagus, but I'll eat it in that manner, and I think it's because of bacon.
Yeah, it's probably the bacon. That's actually what got me to eat kale. First time I went to CPAC, I didn't realize that, at these fancy restaurants we were eating at, you couldn't do substitutions. You had to order everything the way that it came.
and I wanted to desperately try their prime rib lasagna because that was new for me. But it came with kale, but it was kale that was cooked in bacon fat, so it actually was not terrible.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so yeah, I think it might be the bacon.
How about you? What's your
Well,
bottom tier?
Amish, as usual, stole my answer for my first one. My number five is actually Mormon funeral potatoes, because those are yummy. I don't know if you've ever had them before, but I have a really easy recipe. So basically, it's one bag of frozen hash browns, 2 cups of sour cream, 1 can of cream of chicken soup, 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese, half a cup of melted butter, and small onion. But for me, I actually, if they're small, I usually use two because I like extra onions. And then the recipe calls for crushed cornflakes on top, but I don't really like that. So I usually just take a little bit of panko and kind of put it over the top. So you mix everything except the topping. You spread it in a casserole dish, top it with um, some extra butter and a little bit of the panko, and then you bake until hot and golden. And yeah, they're yummy.
Oh, that does sound good. I think that Mormon funeral potatoes is probably one of the most comforting foods out there. And I could honestly sit down and eat the whole casserole. I would have absolutely no problem doing that.
You'd have to put your comfy pants back on first, though.
Yes, I would. Actually, I would put them on beforehand because I would know that I would need to after I'm done. So I would be prepared, you know. I would.
All right, so
But
you'd said that you thought asparagus was healthy, so just for the fun of it, I looked it up. So it's high in fiber, which helps with digestion, rich in folate, which is important for cell health, a good source of vitamins K, C, and A, low in calories, so it works great for lighter meals, is loaded with antioxidants, which again helps protect your cells, and naturally contains compounds that may support heart health. It's also a mild diuretic, so it can help with water retention.
okay.
Just so you know.
So I should actually eat more asparagus.
I should probably start eating it, period, because I don't like it. But I think I may actually start trying to fold it into my
I
menu.
I I mean, I don't mind it, and I actually enjoy actually it's the bacon because I will get a few spears and wrap them in bacon and actually put that to roast in the oven. So it's not it's the bacon. Bacon, you know, is a good carrier for almost anything. So if you don't like a vegetable, throw bacon on it. That'll
Yeah.
cure it.
Was that old commercial? Bacony Bacos make everything better. So that still works for bacon too.
That's
So
right. I remember that commercial. Oh my goodness. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Bacon makes everything better. So, yeah. Okay. So I guess my number four, I really enjoy sweet potatoes. There's some people that really don't like it as a side dish because it tends to be sweet, and sometimes people will put more sweet stuff on it to bring out the sweetness. But I do enjoy it as a side dish because it balances out any other savory components of your dish. So I like to serve sweet potatoes with ham or um, with duck. Duck tends to be more fatty and has a higher sodium content, so it it balances out for me. But the way I make the sweet potatoes, I will peel all the sweet potatoes and then make cut them into rounds, and I will put the rounds on a baking sheet that has been prepared with butter. And yes, I will use butter. I won't use olive oil. I will actually butter the entire baking sheet, and I'll put the rounds down. And on top of the rounds, I will season with cinnamon and nutmeg and little bit of kosher salt, just enough to bring out the flavor. I will roast all that, and then I'll take them out about 10 minutes before, and then I will actually sprinkle chopped dried cranberries and chopped pecans. You can do walnuts, You can skip the nuts if you want to, but the cranberries and the pecans do a really and then drizzle everything with honey and then put it back for the last 10 minutes. And it comes out so good. I cannot stress to you how good this stuff is. But like I said, I have a sweet tooth, so for me, it's a great side dish. And and I've served it whenever I serve duck, and I've noticed that the younger the person, the more apt they are to eat it because younger people like sweet stuff, like kids. so,
Well, duck is
so it's
heavier too, though, so it's a great side dish for heavier stuff. So
yes, yeah, it is. So if you if you're doing something that's a little on the heavier side, um, it's I always recommend it. I know that a lot of people make sweet potato casserole with brown sugar and marshmallows, and I enjoy it that way too. Don't get me wrong. That for me, I could sit and eat the whole thing. Um, and I
I
have.
should I should have just named this episode Aggie's Comfy Pants.
Yes, I
And
know.
he was talking about eating entire pans of stuff. But yeah, it's
I,
funny 'cause most of the time when I go to Texas Roadhouse, which is rare
uh-huh.
anymore, um, that's normally one of the sides I get because they have a loaded sweet potato, and
Oh
everybody looks at
yeah.
me like I'm crazy. I'm like, dude, it's like dessert when I'm done, and I don't have to pay anything extra for it.
Yeah, and I think it's exactly it. And depending on the restaurant you go to, sometimes they will load the sweet potato with savory things, which is nice too. But other times they will actually just add the brown sugar, the um, pecan bits, the marshmallow fluff, or whatever, and they'll serve it that way. And those are the restaurants I go to
Yeah, that
because it's
that
sweet.
sounds really good. That sounds really good, though. I've never thought about mixing cranberries in with my sweet potatoes. So yeah,
I found the recipe. The local grocery store puts out a little magazine um, once every 2 months, and they include recipes in there for, the upcoming whatever holiday is coming up. This time it was obviously Easter. The next one will be for 4th of July, but they had one for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it was in there. And I was like, hmm, let me try it this way. Maybe more people will eat it. The tartness of the cranberries, the crunch of the pecans, the um, the flavor of the cinnamon and the nutmeg, that and just a little bit of salt. I mean, to bring all that together, it was perfect. And the honey. So and yeah, I didn't have any leftovers for that. And I think I did like 5 of them because it was my big baking sheet. So and it was full of the little slices and everything. So I'll send you the recipe.
yes, please do. And yeah, Amish. I was actually thinking that too, but then I realized most of the time when I make the funeral potatoes, I've also usually also made one version or both versions of my green bean casserole. So I didn't want to have shoestring onions everywhere. But if it was a standalone, I could see using those. So that's a good idea. But
Alrighty.
speaking of, that is actually my number 4. I have 2 different versions of this recipe though. So for mine, I usually try to get either fresh or frozen because I don't like them in a can. So usually 1.5 pounds of either frozen or cooked fresh green beans. Uh, for the first recipe, 1 can of cream of mushroom soup, 3/4 of a cup of milk, 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, quarter teaspoon black pepper, 1 1/3 cup of French fried onions. And you divide those. Of course, you heat the oven to 350. In a large bowl, mix the green beans, cream of mushroom soup, milk, soy sauce, black pepper, and 2/3 cup of the fried onions. Pour into a casserole dish, bake for 25 minutes. Stir, then top with the remaining fried onions. Bake another 5 minutes until the onions are golden. All right, so here's the thing. So I have people that like cream of mushroom soup, and I have people that don't. So I have a variation of this, and I usually make both. So same recipe, except it is a can of cheddar cheese soup instead of mushroom soup, and
Oh,
I cut back on the milk just a little bit, and instead of so it's a half a cup instead of 3/4. Instead of a teaspoon of soy sauce, it's a teaspoon and a half of Worcestershire, otherwise known as Worcestershire sauce, and then everything else is basically the same. But yeah, except the one thing that is different on both of them that I forgot because I don't have it on my note card is I also usually cook up about 6 strips of bacon and break those up inside too, and then put a little bit over the top.
See, it elevates it. Bacon elevates everything, doesn't it?
Bacon makes everything better. I'm telling you.
Yes, it does. It does. I mean, I made candied bacon a few months ago, and my mom thought it was an abomination until she ate it.
Dude, candied bacon is awesome.
It cracks me up. She called me and she actually asked me for the recipe, and I told her it's not really hard. So I'm telling her what I do, and she says, "Oh, that's too complicated. I'll just wait until you get here." Okay.
In other words, you're gonna make it for me.
Yes. But I'll just make a whole package, and everything, and then she can just put it in the freezer and take it out as, thaw and eat as she wants. But you just
So
crack me
yeah,
up.
I modified a candied bacon recipe once, and
Mm.
then used it to make stuffed jalapeno peppers.
Oh, wow. I never even thought
Yeah,
about doing that.
yeah.
I bet that came out really, really good.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
So did
Yeah,
you just
I
wrap them, with the cream cheese and then just wrap the bacon, or did you cook it and then put the bacon in the cream cheese and then wrap it with bacon? Because
a little,
I guess
yeah,
you
a
can't
little,
have too much.
little bit of both.
Okay.
There's actually bacon mixed in with the stuffing, but actually with mine I use um, cream cheese to thin it up a little bit, but then I also add a little bit of the cheddar cheese soup too, just because I like the taste better when I do that. And then I mix bacon bits in there with it, and then wrap bacon over the top. I haven't gotten good enough with my smoker because what I want to do is do some cowboy candy shotgun shells, but I have to get better with my smoker first. I haven't quite
Okay.
gotten that figured out yet.
That sounds like a summer project.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm getting better with it. It's just the time. It's different because I'm not used to cooking with one of the electric pellet smokers, so I'm having to get used to cook times. And last couple times I've done it, the smoke flavor has been really, really good, but the meat's still been tough, which means I haven't been letting it cook long enough, and I'm sad about that. But I'll figure it out.
Mm.
I'll figure it out.
Man, I'm doing a hell of a lot of penance tonight. So
Hey, let's talk about
you knew
food.
you knew I'd be like, oh my goodness, this is killing me. But hey, willpower. This is all about willpower.
Oh,
You
is that
cannot deny I
what
have
it is?
willpower.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what I'm sticking to.
Nice. All right.
But okay, so my third one is something that I actually picked up on. I think it was a uh, Book of Faces video, and it's Hasselback potatoes. And the way the gal was making them is that she'll cut the potatoes in half lengthwise, and then she gets two chopsticks, and then she will make each half an accordion from the top, so that's they're still connected and they can fan out and whatever. And then she will put like a mixture of butter with garlic and cayenne and all sorts of other stuff, and then she brushes that on top, and then she puts parmesan on top and bakes it. And depending on how many potatoes and how big they are, you bake anywhere from you bake at 400 for about 30 minutes or so. Then just make sure, and then you check to make sure that it's all soft all the way through. But what I do is I make, and it's messy, okay? But I like making a mess in the kitchen because it makes me happy. So I love this recipe that's one of the reasons why I love it. So I will have the little half, the long half with the accordion on the top, and I will bend it a little bit, and I have a mixture of melted butter with garlic powder, onion powder, cayenne, and what else? I think it's rosemary or something like that I crush because I have a bunch of herbs. So depending on the herb that I have, I'll just put it in a mortar and crush it all and then put that all in there. And then I will dip the potatoes, making sure that I fan them out so that all of that will soak into the layers. And then I'll put that on the baking sheet, and I'll put that in the oven. And the last maybe 5 or 10 minutes, I will take it out. I will sprinkle the Parmesan on top and then put it back in. That way you don't burn the Parmesan. Um, and so, I put it back in, and I I cannot express how good these things are. It's like they're a little, they have a little crust on the outside, but they're tender and soft on the inside, and the everything soaks in as long as you take them out of the oven and you let it stand for a little while so that all of that gets soaked in by the potatoes, and then you serve that. And I normally, whenever I do that, I serve it with pork chops, or you know something that's relatively easy, the chicken breasts that you've done whatever you want to do. But those never stay on the plate. I mean, every time I have served them, everybody eats the potatoes first, and then they go to the main dish because the potatoes are so good. But you should, I'll send you that recipe too, because it's a lot of fun. But like I said, it's kind of messy because
Yeah.
you're putting it into this bowl full of, oily stuff, so, but yeah, I tend to use butter for these because butter, for some reason, it's richer than using olive oil or anything like that. And I'm kind of a purist there. I make my own butter, and it's healthier for you. So, I mean, olive oil is not bad for you either. I try to stay away from the vegetable oils and the soy oil based oils and seed oils and all that stuff. Um, I just like butter. I like lard too. So I cook with those. Those are good. But yeah, Hasselback potatoes. They're fantastic, and they're a lot of fun to make as long as you have time to make them.
Yeah, I mean they are a work. I've made them before. I've honestly normally when I do my loaded potatoes, I tried to do Hasselback one time and did it that way, and it was too much work, so I just started quartering them. But yeah, but anyway, not to change the subject, but I feel like this needs to be mentioned. James Tolkien, best known as Mr. Strickland, and the CAG from Top Gun, has passed away.
Oh man.
So
He had to be in his, I
he
think,
was
mid
94.
90s.
Yeah, 94. So it's not really
Dang.
sad because he had a long life, but still, just one of those things where I hate when people that I grew up watching have died, because it just proves yet again that I've gotten older, which I refuse to.
Yeah.
Nope. But yeah. So
I
yeah.
we're at that age. We're at the age where all of the people that we grew up seeing as adults on movies and on TV, they're passing on. And I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Not because it's forcing me to look at my own mortality, but because I honestly believe that we're losing, as far as actors and actresses go, we're losing the old standard, because the new standard of actors is not that great.
Well, the new standard of actors is all going to be replaced by AI in 10 years or less anyway. So
Pretty
I mean,
much.
but
But yeah, that sad news. Sad news. He was so good in both films. And I think in Masters of the Universe too, but if I
yeah,
remember
he was in
correctly.
that too.
Yeah. So
He always had he had a proclivity for shotguns.
yeah, he did.
But yeah, I had no idea. I knew he was in Top Gun, but I never heard his call sign until I looked it up a minute ago. Apparently, his call sign in the movie was Stinger. Seems kind of fitting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was
Alrighty. So
Commander Tom Stinger Jardian, and he was Maverick and Goose's commanding officer in the opening sequence when he's like, son, your body's writing checks your ass can't cash.
I think what my favorite one was when I think was it I want to say it was the second one. No, was it the second one? No, 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 it was the first one. Was that guy always bald?
Yeah.
When Marty says, "Has he always been bald?"
Yeah, when he goes back in the 50s, dude still ain't got hair. He's like, what the hell? Has he always been bald? But yeah. So anyway.
Well, it's like what's his name? Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah. Dude
I've
has
never
never
seen him with hair.
I don't think he's ever had hair. I mean, even some of the scenes that he did with hair, turns out dude had a wig for when he was required to
Yeah,
have hair. I
yeah,
don't think he's
that's
ever
true.
had hair. Because that was something that I found interesting. Because there's actually an old wives' tale about that I got wrong. Because I was told, and I even read it that way in one of the book jackets, that it was Roddenberry who had an issue with Picard with Patrick Stewart not having any hair. So they let him read once, and then they had him come back. Second time they had him come back with a wig though, because one of the showrunners was like,
Yeah.
"Dude, Captain cannot not have hair." So they had him read with the wig on, and everybody was like, "Eh." So then they called him back one more time, and this time he didn't have the wig. And the showrunner was looking at Gene, going, "I don't want a bald captain." And Gene's like, "Dude, it's the 24th century. Nobody gives a shit about hair anymore." So yeah.
I saw the stills of him with that curly hair, and I was just like, "This is so wrong on so many levels." He
Yeah,
just looks
just
so awful.
don't do that. Don't do that.
Yes, M is correct. He was bald in Excalibur. That came
He
out in
was.
what,
Yeah,
81?
yeah.
80?
But yeah, the funny thing is, I had no idea that he was in his. I mean, honestly, because he was bald, I thought he was older, but I had no idea he was in his 40s when he started doing Star Trek: The Next Generation. The scariest thing about that is if they had actually, let James Kirk have a kid who looked a little bit like himself, he could have come back as his own ancestor, playing Captain of the New Enterprise, and not been that much older than Patrick Stewart at the time. So, which is kind of interesting when you think about it. But anyway,
All righty.
all
Well,
right.
time for your number 3.
My number 3 is super fancy mac and cheese. Yes, yes, yes. Usually involves 3 different kinds of cheeses.
Ooh.
I have last time I made it, I used Gruyere, and then I also used a little bit of mozzarella and a little bit of cheddar, and mixed it all together. So basically, the other thing that I usually do, of course, is, and I know I'm starting to develop a theme here, but there's usually bacon in my mac and cheese too. So yeah, it's usually extra cheesy, extra creamy, lots of butter, lots of milk. And then because for some reason Gracie absolutely loves the fancy kind, we usually put the panko breadcrumbs over the top and
Ooh.
let it finish cooking that way for the last few minutes because for some reason she really, really likes it that way. And mac and cheese is like her favorite thing. Like that's when we took her out to dinner for her birthday, she got mac and cheese and house made chips for her birthday dinner. So that tells you how much she likes mac and cheese. So, which is why I've gotten pretty good at making it.
Um, yeah, it's funny you brought up panko crumbs a couple of times, and I started thinking I can't use those anymore because panko is made with bread, and bread is made with yeast, and my husband can't have any yeast, brewer's yeast products. Um, so I actually found a substitute. It's crushed pork rinds. And I'm not even
Ooh,
joking. It was awesome.
yeah, that might actually work because that kind of works.
Yeah, yeah. Look into that. And they sell them in kind of pricey, so I have to be, kind of frugal when I make it and everything. But I used to I used to use a half panko, half flour. Now I use the half pork rind and half flour, and it's like having panko, but the flavor is, I think, a little bit better. And I actually use those to make um, uh, schnitzel, Wiener Schnitzel. And the irony of using pork rinds on pork did not escape me, but it came out really good.
Well, that's like, and no, this isn't a side dish, but I do take thinly cut pork chops without the bone in them, and then I wrap them in bacon and I cook them slowly, and then I raise the heat up to crisp the bacon up, so that way the meat doesn't dry out, but the bacon gets crispy. And I call those death by pork fat. So I can kind of see where you're going.
Oh yes, oh yes. It's I kid you not. I was like, I don't know if I should. Let me try it. Because whenever I make meatloaf, I use water crackers as instead of breadcrumbs, and it comes out fine. Don't get me wrong, but breadcrumbs are usually. Yeah, I used to get the Italian flavored um, breadcrumbs, and
Yeah.
that always added to the meatloaf. And water crackers don't have a lot of seasoning. Well, they don't have any. So I would have to add my own and, whatever. So I decided to use that to make a meatloaf. And man, it was good. I was like, I may actually have to do this instead. I've also switched from using ketchup in meatloaf to using Heinz 57. And that's actually, I think it gives it a better flavor. But that's just, that's my opinion. I don't know. Some people are
Is it-
ketchup purists and some others are Worcestershire and some others are A1. Whatever. I just use 57.
Dude, I went to dinner with one of my clients one time when I was running my own company, and he served his family's meatloaf recipe. Dude served me meatloaf with raisins in it.
Mm.
No.
Hmm. My sister makes the weirdest meatloaf. She absolutely loathes the fact that her husband, my brother-in-law, prefers my meatloaf to hers. And my sister, when she's making meatloaf, she will grate carrots and she will grate celery and she will grate everything, and she will put chopped up green beans in it and this, and he's like, this is like a pimento loaf at this point. It's, he does, he'll eat it. Don't get me wrong, he'll eat it. But when I would invite them over for meatloaf, my sister would. I could hear her rolling her eyes on the phone. It's like, of course we're gonna go. I just hope you made enough. And I said, yes, I made enough because my brother-in-law will take the half that's left over with him, so he can. At the time, he was a deputy sheriff, so he would take that for lunch. So he would have lunch for like 3 days.
Best thing ever for leftovers. Meatloaf sandwiches. Yummy.
Yeah, that's what he would do. He would make meatloaf sandwich. He would actually put it in the refrigerator with a weight on it to compress it so that it was easier to slice and make sandwiches out of it.
Nice.
I was like, man, he's a diehard aficionado of meatloaf, I gotta say.
And yet he married someone that wants to try to turn it into a vegan monstrosity.
And she's all like, this is the only way you're gonna get your vegetables. And he's like, no, I can have my vegetables on the side with the meatloaf, not inside the meatloaf. They're always screaming at each other over it. But whatever. Not my problem anymore. I moved. So anyway.
Lucky you. I think I'm starting to understand why you might have moved.
Yes.
Mm.
I had to leave behind my recipe though. She said, I gotta have the recipe in case he wants me to make it your way. And I'm like, "Yeah, of course he's gonna want you to make it your my way. He prefers it, but she didn't like what I said."
Nice.
Anyway. Alrighty, so I guess we're at my number 2.
Yep.
So my number 2 is butternut squash, but I make it several different ways. Um, I like to I cut up the entire, I buy the whole thing fresh and I will peel it and then I will slice it up and take out all the guts, and then cube it, and I will toss that in olive oil with some kosher salt and herbs de Provence, and I'll toss all that, and then I will actually, you know, bake that in the oven, just like that. And that's an easy way of doing it. But I also like to cut it in half, scoop everything out, drizzle it with olive oil and salt, and bake that until it's soft, and then scoop everything out and make little puree mounds on a baking sheet and sprinkle that with more kosher salt and the herbs de Provence, and then bake it so it has this golden crust on top, and then serve that as well. So it's kind of like a mashed potato of butternut instead, but it's butternut. And then it's kind of like twice baked, but that's I would serve that whenever I made turkey, which I'm not allowed to make turkey anymore because I made the mistake of making duck once, and now my family's like, never make turkey again when we can have duck. And I'm like, fine, I'll make duck from now on. So now I'm a duck person, no longer I'm no longer allowed to have turkey in the house. At least for Thanksgiving. But
Yeah,
that's it's a nice, it has a certain sweetness to it, and when you add the seasonings and the salt, it's a really good combination. So and butternut squash is really good for you unless you overdo it as a baby and then you look like you're jaundiced because you're eating all sorts of orange food. Yes, that actually happened to one of my children. So I had to take my son in because I thought he was jaundiced, and they ran a test and he came back normal. He came back fine. And the pediatrician asked me, "So, what do you feed him?" I said, "Well, he likes sweet potatoes and squash and carrots and broccoli." And she's like, "Oh, now we know."
yeah.
Every beta carotene item on the planet, that was what my son was eating.
Yep.
so so it showed as him, but he wasn't jaundiced. He was just orange.
Nice.
Yeah. So how about you? What's your number two?
My number two is simple, but for some reason I am absolutely hooked on them, and those are hush puppies. Usually have them when we do a fish fry, but I absolutely love hush puppies. I haven't found a good recipe for them though, so I usually have to cheat. Um, but I love hush puppies. I don't know if yeah, I don't know if anybody knows what a hush puppy actually is. I had to look up where where
I
the name
do.
came from. I had to look up where the name came from. Apparently, because they were really cheap and easy to make, they were used as a diversion to stop slave hunting dogs as slaves were trying to escape. So they started calling them hush puppies. Interesting bit of
Ah,
history.
I had no idea. I didn't know that's where it came from.
Yeah, I didn't either. So I looked it up trying to find a recipe one time, and then I fell down this entire rabbit hole of the history of hush puppies. But yeah. Now I have seen some weird hush puppies that involve like putting actual corn in them. But yeah, I don't do that. So, but yeah.
No, I
Um,
didn't. I've never seen them actually put corn in it. Really?
it's kind of an East Coast thing. They do them over there
Ah,
that way.
okay.
But yeah. So this is the one that I found that I use. I'm still looking to see if I can find ways to tweak it better. But this is all the ingredients needed for hush puppies: 1 cup yellow cornmeal, half cup all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of sugar, half a small onion finely chopped. Again, for me, I usually go ahead and do at least 3/4 of an onion because I like extra onions. 1 egg, half a cup of buttermilk, 2 to 4 tablespoons of water. Teaspoons of water as needed. And then, of course, you fry them in the oil. You have to heat the oil first. That's for some reason, especially with Gen Z kids, they think you can just throw everything in there and then heat the oil. No, no, no. You heat the oil first in either a deep
Is it
skillet or a pot, and it's got to be at 350.
do you think that they do that because they're used to something like an air fryer where they just put
And
everything in and then just close it and then hit on?
yeah, I think so. I
Okay.
really do.
Yeah, see, this is why I like lard because you actually 'cause at room temperature is this really pretty, white fluffy stuff. And then you put it in the cast iron skillet and then you turn it on. You have to wait until it's liquefied before you can put anything else in it. So,
Mm. So I've kind of gotten creative with what I use for cooking oil now. I have half tallow, half bacon fat.
yeah,
And
I want to get I was seriously thinking about starting to render my own tallow and I'm like, you know, there's a guy in town that will do it for me. So,
yeah, but if you start rendering your own tallow before you know it, you'll have another hobby and you'll be making candles.
oh, well, it's really weird that you bring that up because I was thinking about learning how to make my own soap from like scratch, but it has to be a soap I can use on my body, on my hair, and on my clothing. In case the world goes to hell.
Uh,
So, a lot of people say, well, you can buy the soap chips and then melt them down and then make your own. I said, yeah, I know you can do that. I just need to get to the soap chips. I need to get there. When I say from scratch, I'm like, I want to go. Do I have to I don't know, start growing soap root? Harvest, from the marrow of the cow, that kind of stuff. I need to research all this stuff. I used to know from my grandmother because my grandmother would make her own, and of course she had livestock. She had all sorts of herbal medicine, um, paraphernalia growing all over the place, so she would make her own. But we were not allowed to be near it because of the lye and the dangerous components that could harm children. So I knew that it was happening on that side of the house. I just, outside. And when I say side of the house, it's on the outside. There was, the back side of the house had the pila, which is where you would wash all the clothes, and it was this huge concrete thing, and it was and the little concrete steps so that you can like wash the clothes on, and everything, and then rinse everything. And then on the other side of the house, the east side of the house, that's where she would make the soap. So we were not allowed back there. So I really never learned how to make my own soap. So that I know it has absolutely nothing to do with food, but that is something that I want to learn. I would rather learn that than do the tallow thing because I know I got a guy.
nice. I got a guy.
I got a
I got
guy
a
for
guy.
that. I got a guy for that. But yeah, and yes, lye soap is kind of easy to make. It is harsh, and I don't want it on my skin, so that's why I got to figure out a soap that's good for that I can use on skin and hair and clothing. So I know, but another story. That's for another show.
Nice. So it's not really one of my sides for tonight, but one of the things that I like, and I think it was actually MD that I owe this to. I think it was either MD or somebody else on X months ago that was talking about spray tallow for an air fryer. Tater tots and spray tallow in an air fryer. Yeah, that's some good stuff.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, that's some
Hmm.
good stuff. Finishes crisping them up, and they don't. Yeah, so because yeah, Gracie loves tater tots, and I'm weird because I know everyone is like, that's not like all the leftover dregs of potatoes, and I'm like, yeah, but they're fluffy and crispy and yummy, and yeah, so I was really really happy when Arby's brought their potato cakes back. I think I'm probably one of 5 people in my town that order them on a regular basis when I eat there because they're always like, it'll be an extra 7 minutes to make those. I don't care. Give me my fluffy taters.
I like the fluffy taters. Like I said, I could have easily done 10 potato dishes tonight, and I had to put variety in there so that so it didn't seem like I was just this potato fiend. I
Well,
feel
no,
like
I mean,
Samwise Gamgee, potatoes.
well, you actually pitched it as favorite ways to make potatoes. So I just went to side dishes because I couldn't think of that many ways to make potatoes. So you still could have done
I
10
still
potato
could have done
dishes.
it.
I'd have been okay with it, dude. You know, potatoes is one of my all-time favorites. I mean, before I discovered baked potatoes when I got older, my favorite thing ever was mashed potatoes and gravy. Dude, I could eat that every day. And I did a lot in the summer too because I used to spend summers with my granddad and my dad in his body shop, and we would always go eat lunch at Greasy Spoons. And at
Mm.
least twice a week, I would get chicken fried steak and mashed potatoes and gravy. And I felt like a king for the 20 minutes it took me to eat that.
Oh man, I could honestly, there have been some times when I have actually just eaten potatoes for dinner. And when I was in school, there was a place where you could actually order a baked potato and it's super loaded and everything. And it was $5. And I swear the potato was easily the size of I, I don't- like half a loaf of bread. I mean, it was huge, right? And then they would just load it with everything. And that potato could feed you for at least 3 days, or at least could feed me for at least 3 days because I was a tiny person. At the time, I weighed 105 pounds. So, it was it was great. And so, you know, broccoli and cheese was a favorite thing for it, or you could get barbecue like brisket, with a surcharge because it was meat, so it was $1 extra or something like that. But it would last me it would be 3 meals at least. So, and the thing was, when I was growing up, I wasn't that fond of potatoes. I thought that potatoes were kind of like bland or something. Well, that's because every time I had potatoes, I was at not my grandma, excuse me, my aunt's house, and she added nothing to it. She would boil the potato and serve it like that. I mean, there was no butter, there was no salt, there was no seasoning whatsoever. So for me, it was like you're eating some kind of weird fluff stuff, but it had no flavor. So I wasn't very fond of it. And but now I am because of everything that you can do with a potato. It's almost like Bubba Gump Shrimp Company with the shrimp, all
Yeah.
the stuff that you can do with a potato.
Well, it's funny because one of my last ones is actually mashed potatoes, but I do something a little different with mine. And then, so it kind of depends on what I'm in the mood for too, because it'll start as mashed potatoes, which of course which normally for mine, I'll boil them for a minute and then shock them and then reboil them because it seems like it softens them more. So that's step one. But then when I start the mashing process, of course, I start with butter, and then well, usually lots of butter, and then a little bit of milk. But instead of because a lot of folks use heavy cream, I've actually started adding sour cream to mine because they fluff up more, and those make really good potato cakes too. You can make potato pancakes, and they're it's extra fluffy.
I'm telling you, you can do almost everything with potatoes. So anyway, okay, so I guess we're down to the number one.
Yep, I guess so.
So my number one, for those of you new to this place and who missed the photograph that I posted, my new favorite side dish is potatoes dauphinoise. Yeah, that's where it's a French term for dolphin, but they're actually referring to the French way of making it for the king. So, but I saw a video of this and I said, I have got to try this. It sounds fantastic. And the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to infuse heavy whipping cream. You're going to add a couple of tablespoons of butter to a cup of heavy whipping cream, and you're going to put that in a pot saucepan. You're going to add a couple of sprigs of rosemary, 3 or 4. I use 6 because I like thyme a lot. Of fresh thyme. Um, uh, I want to say about 6 or 7 leaves of sage. You're going to add 3 to 4 crushed whole garlic cloves and season it with a couple of healthy pinches of salt. And you're going to let that simmer. You're going to bring that to when you start seeing all the little bubbles around it. That's when you take it off the heat and just let it sit there for about 20 minutes and let those flavors infuse. Then you're going to take your mandolin and you're going to be brave because you want to slice the potatoes medium setting, so about an eighth of an inch thick. And so you're going to slice all peel your potatoes, and then you're going to slice them all. And then you're going to set those aside. You're going to bring back the heavy whipping cream, and you're going to strain that cream into the bowl that the sliced potatoes are in. Again, you're going to get messy. You're going to put your hands in there and you're going to make sure all of those beautiful slices are completely coated in that heavy whipping cream mixture. Now you're going to take an oval baking dish and you're going to butter it very well. I use for a standard, I want to say about 9 by 5, maybe. I don't know. It's oval. And I will use 2 tablespoons and make sure that it's really, really well, well buttered. You're going to put the slices going around as if you were forming ratatouille, but you're just going to do it all the way around. I take the crushed garlic and I will mince it. I take it from what I had strained. I will mince it and then tuck it into some of the slices. And then you're going to pour all of that wonderful heavy cream all on top. You're going to dot it with some more butter. This is not for the faint of heart, okay? There's a lot of heavy cream and butter in this dish, and deservedly so. And then you're going to sprinkle some more fresh thyme leaves on top, and you're going to bake that. And I usually bake that for about 40 minutes at about 375. You take it out, it's beautiful golden on top, and then you're going to let that sit for about 10 or 15 minutes because all of the bubbling stuff that you see, all of those the heavy whipping cream and the butter, as the dish starts to cool, the potatoes will start soaking that back up. So you're going to let it sit until it's no longer liquidy on top, and then you can serve. And let me tell you, when I tell you that these potatoes are fantastic, I would marry this dish. I would marry this dish, and
Brown
I
sugar,
would
brown
I'm not even joking here. It was so good. I served that when my girlfriends were here. We made prime rib. They insisted on prime rib. One of them wanted to cook prime rib. So we had prime rib, and that was the dish that I made. Except instead of making it all the way around like that in a casserole in an oval baking dish, I used a muffin tin and I stacked them in there. And then I poured the heavy whipping cream. So I made, you know, individual servings and they were inhaled. They were like, I've never had potatoes this great. I said, I know, they're great. They're wonderful. And I served that also when my friend Oscar von Ruenthal was here. He came to visit. I made him in the oval and he enjoyed them very, very much. So this is like my top way of making potatoes now. I absolutely love I know it there's a few steps and everything, but believe me when I tell you, it is so completely worth it. It is amazing the amount of flavor and it's just it's awesome. I'm and yes, like I said, it's not for the faint of heart because there's a lot of heavy whipping cream. There's a lot of butter that you're using, and it is a potato, which has a lot of starch. So when I say that this is not for the faint of heart, it's not, but it's good.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I'll probably post that recipe later. In a separate, you know, tweet maybe.
So oddly enough, our final ones actually seem kind of similar. Um, I think mine actually has a couple more steps than yours. But this is a recipe that I kind of tweaked on my own, and I call them Steakhouse Duchess potatoes.
Oh.
So, of course, 2.5 pounds Yukon Gold potatoes, six
Mhm.
tablespoons of unsalted butter. You have to divide that out. Half cup of I for this recipe I do use the heavy cream on the inside, but that's because sour cream gets used later. So
Mhm.
half cup of heavy cream, 3 egg yolks, half a cup of finely grated Parmesan, 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt, half teaspoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of chopped chives, and then if possible, a little fresh roasted garlic, just a couple pinches. So first, you peel and chunk the potatoes. Boil in salted water until fork tender, which is usually about 15 to 20 minutes. Drain them well, and then let them stand for a couple minutes so all the extra moisture goes away. For best results, you can mash, but I normally rice them until they're very smooth. So then you mix in the 4 tablespoons of butter, the cream, the egg yolks, Parmesan, salt, pepper, and chives. Stir until smooth and rich. Taste, of course, and then adjust any seasoning as necessary. Then comes the fancy part. This is normally when I have to get one of my kids to help me because I'm not very coordinated. Spoon into a piping bag with a large star tip. Pipe swirls onto a parchment lined baking sheet. But you just gave me an idea with the muffin tin, so I might actually be trying that next time.
Ooh.
Pipe swirls onto a parchment lined baking sheet. Melt the remaining 2 tablespoons of butter and brush lightly over the tops. Bake them at 425 for about 15 to 20 minutes until the edges are golden brown. And then, of course, don't overmix once you put the egg yolks in. Just give them a final little bit of a mix, and then it's usually done. You can also, for garnish, sprinkle with a little extra chives and some flaky sea salt before serving. And of course, you normally want to make sure that you serve them hot. So serve them hot. Usually best next to some sort of a steak or prime rib. So you can also substitute white cheddar for Parmesan and add sour cream if you want.
That
So,
sounds amazing.
yeah, they're yummy. There's a reason I'm fat, y'all. I know how to cook.
Oh, goodness. I just thanks MD. I just got the joke. I'm such an idiot. But yeah, that sounds really really good. And I have a girlfriend that she decorates cakes. I mean, she's a cake diva. That's what she calls herself. But I asked her, I said, "Do you use all of your, the tips and all that stuff to do the same thing with mashed potatoes?" And she, she's all quiet. Where have you been all my life? And I was like, "You haven't?" So she did. She decided to start doing that because one of the things that um, we had both seen, we both follow Max Miller, Eating History, and he had done shepherd's pie. And so she had sent me the link and she said, "We need to try this." And I said, are you going to do it with like, and she was like, I never even thought to do that. And now that's how she's going to do it. She's going to pipe it into little rosettes like you were talking about. I think that'll look really cool on a shepherd's pie too.
Well, I actually made a variation of a shepherd's pie once using those, but I made meatloaf cupcakes with mashed potato frosting with the fancy potato frosting.
Oh, I do that too. I do that too whenever if I'm hosting, several people, instead of making one loaf, I'll make the muffin tin
Yep.
meatloaf so that it's easier for people to um, serve themselves. Um, But yeah, I'd never thought to put mashed potato frosting on. That sounds really cute.
Yeah. Mhm. You could just tell it. Just next time you do a big dinner party, tell everybody to get ready for cupcakes for dinner. Then you bring those out, and they'll be like, "What the hell?"
It's funny because sometimes they have, the Kids Baking Championship on Food Network, I think. Sometimes you have to make a dessert that looks like actual food, like dinner, instead of making it look at this. So the kids actually have to think outside the box to, how are you going to make the meatloaf, you know, from a dessert, make it look like a meatloaf, that kind of thing. And now here we are, we're doing cupcakes, but made out of meatloaf and the potato.
I'm just saying. Just saying.
It's a cute idea.
Pretty yummy. Pretty yummy. All right. So you'd mentioned that you have a couple of honorable mentions, I think.
Yeah, well, we have some time. So one of my honorable mentions is this one's really easy. I love making it when I'm pressed for time and I need some kind of beta carotene on the plate to at least put some color. And I like doing
Trying to
candied
turn
carrots.
trying to turn everybody orange again. I see how it is.
Well, to this day, my son just will eat any beta carotene item. He still loves it all. But yeah,
See, for me, it was the opposite.
I'll make candied carrots, and it's I mean it's at least the way that I do them, it's pretty simple. You peel your carrots and you cut them into bite-sized pieces, and you put them in water to boil until they're soft, and then you drain those, and then you put them back in the pot with a quarter cup of brown sugar and like 4 tablespoons of butter, and then you bring that to low until the sugar has dissolved and everything, and it's just all completely coated in it, and then you serve it. It's you're not going to serve all of the butter and sugar mixture. You just want to make sure that everything is well coated, and then I just strain, I use a straining spoon to put it in a serving dish, and seems to be a hit. People like it.
Yeah. Those.
Again, sweet.
Yeah, that's actually how we got Gracie to start eating carrots because she wouldn't eat them at first, and then we made candied carrots, and now she'll eat them raw. She's like, "Do we have any carrots, Papa?" But yeah, it was weird because when Jessie was growing up, it was like pulling teeth to get her to eat any meat, and for the first probably year and a half Gracie was alive, she was kind of the same, and then all of a sudden she just decided she hated all vegetables. She still fights with me about most vegetables.
How old is she?
She just turned 6.
Okay, that's why. So it's kind of a vestigial thing. But when kids are very little, like toddlers, they will eat everything. And then comes a time between the ages of 4 and 6 where it narrows to like eating 3 things. And then about 3 years after that, they actually expand and will start eating everything else again. And a lot of people surmise that the reason for that has to do with when we were hunters and gatherers, we would caution children not to eat certain things because they were poisonous. And the children actually got used to that. This is the only thing you can eat right now is this, and this other thing. That's it. That's all you're getting for now until you learn when you go forage what to look for. And so that they think that that's where that comes from. I mean, that's a theory.
Yeah, I mean it's as good a theory as any. Oh. All right. Well, my last honorable mention is it's kind of easy, but dude, to me, especially if I'm doing a summer cookout, there's nothing better than grilled corn on the cob.
Ooh, yes.
Grilled corn on the cob. Yes. It's easy to make too. So yeah, that was kind of my last honorable mention. I mean, I have, there's always the old staples for like when you're doing like, going to a barbecue shack or something. You get some potato salad, some baked beans, or some coleslaw. So it's not like there aren't tons of sides we haven't really talked about yet. Just those aren't ones that I make that often because normally I just cheat and buy those. I do make good homemade baked beans though. I need to do that again sometime. It's been a minute since I've done that.
Now I want corn. Actually, I want all the food I was talking about.
Only got a few more days.
Yeah, but like I said, the last week, the Holy Week, is the most difficult because I do 2 days of solid fasting before Easter. So, but I'm in the stretch. I'm in the stretch, And I gotta say, next time I am not hosting anyone here during Lent. I'm putting everybody on advisory now. If y'all want to visit me, you're gonna have to wait until after Lent.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised you wanted to expose anybody to Hangry Aggie anyway. But
Well, what happened was one of my girlfriends, Velvet, she booked a flight for late February, early March that weekend. And she forgot that it was at the start of Lent. Lent started on February 18th. So she felt bad, but there was nothing that she could do about it. So I just said, yeah, no problem. And then, my friend Oscar, it was during his spring break, him being a professor at the university. So again, it was during Lent. So I said, sure, no problem. And Irath is here right now, and he was supposed to go to a marksman competition, but unfortunately he's not able to go. So again, Lent. It was just the weirdest coincidences, the way it just happened. But yeah, everybody's put on notice. No visitation here during Lent. No more.
you don't
Unless
want to wind
unless
up
it's Orty.
making-
I will make allowances for Orty because he brings his mom. So yeah.
Yeah, but if Orty shows up, he's just gonna rag you about never making it down to Wiener Schnitzel. So
Oh gosh, yeah, that's true. And the thing was, I had plans to go. I was in the area, and I had to cut the trip short because I had to rush back over here um for what happened? Oh, yeah. I had a surprise visit for my daughter, and she didn't have a way to get into the house, so we had to cut our trip up there short. I didn't make it to Wiener Schnitzel, but I shall. I shall
well, to be
before he
fair,
gets here.
to be fair, you do make your own though, so I think that gives you a pass. So
He's already telling me he doesn't want to hear my excuse. So- You're right. My kids don't count. Okay. So anyway,
makes notes for the calendar. By the way, I heard a lot of chicken scratching earlier. Were you jotting down recipe notes?
I may have.
I thought so.
I may have been writing a few notes here and there.
I
What?
don't
I
blame
mean,
you.
it's like one of the coolest things I ever saw. I was touring. We were touring a house. We're looking to buy an older house, and this was when we first came to San Antonio, brand new family, right? And so we were looking at older houses and everything. And I went to the kitchen and I opened one of the cabinets to see how many shelves it had, and right there, stapled to the cabinet door, were recipes. And to like take them down, and I was like, this is so neat. I For that reason alone, I wanted to buy that house, but of course we didn't buy that house. It was too small, but it was really cool because they were all handwritten and they had been there. And I told the realtor, I said, you may want to get in touch with the people that are selling this house because these recipes are still there and they're all handwritten, so they may mean something to them. And I don't know if she ever did or if they came by and picked them up, but I just thought that was so cool to that would have been a really cool thing to have bought a house that came with recipes in the kitchen.
That would have been pretty cool. But anyway,
Well, one
so
of them was for tuna casserole, which ironically I've never had. I've never had
not,
tuna casserole.
not a fan. Not a
I,
fan.
you hear about it on like Leave It to Beaver, Father Knows Best, all these old shows. Everybody has a tuna casserole, and I've never had it. I have no idea what it's like.
Yeah, my stepmom used to make tuna fish sandwiches all the time when we were kids. First of all, I'm not a huge fan of. And second of all, why the hell do we have to call it tuna fish? Nobody says steak cow. But anyway, um, so she used to make these tuna fish sandwiches, but she would put tomatoes in there, and she knew I hated tomatoes, and they were too much of a pain in the ass to pick out. So eventually, I got used to how
Oh, so
tomatoes
you
taste.
hate tomatoes. Noted.
Well, I don't hate them now. I'm just very picky. For me,
Ah,
I've discovered it's a texture issue, and this goes back to remember earlier when you were saying, your son still eats anything with beta carotene that he can find. See, my
yeah.
mom craved watermelon the entire like last 6 months she was pregnant with me, and yeah, most of her pregnancy was in winter, by the way. So you can imagine how much fun that was for my dad. Um, but he dutifully went and found it whenever he could. I can't eat watermelon to this day. I can't. And then I think it's because the texture is kind of similar with tomatoes, especially if they're not firm. I never really have liked those either. I don't mind the taste of ketchup and things made with tomato. I just don't like the taste of actual tomatoes. Well, my stepmom used to get her tuna fish really, really cold before we would eat it. So, like the second or third time she ate it, I got tired of picking out the tomatoes and I just ate it. And I'm like, hey, these aren't that bad because they're firm. She's like, see, I told you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, no.
Mm.
I don't know. I like tuna with the onions and some people put chopped pickles. I don't. I just do the onions and a little bit of apples, and that's about it. I mean, the with the binder, mayo, whatever. Um, but that's about it.
Never had apples in my tuna fish.
I will be making for dinner on Sunday tuna poke. So I bought some ahi tuna, and I'll be making poke for that.
Oh, nice.
But
Nice.
yeah, if it's just my husband and I, then I make the poke, and that's usually enough for both of us. If my kids are here, I have to buy like 5 or 6 steaks and then make this huge amount of poke because apparently it's like they're vultures. They need to they just fall into that and just start eating it.
So I just
It's
noticed on the portrait side, our bar looks a lot more fancy. There's like a dangly chandelier that I've never noticed before that was at the top of the screen.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of
Huh,
cool.
kinda cool. Anyway, so
Yep.
Jeff, our resident alien, was trying to be a thinker and help you for next year. He said next year you should just give up Lent for Lent.
No. Anyway, I guess
You'd be
we're up at
you'd
the
be,
top of the
you'd be
hour.
less hangry. So I mean,
I would be
might
less hangry, but I like me hangry.
I'm
I
glad
will.
somebody does.
It's the willpower. I'm going to see this through, and every year that I've managed to do that, it's just strengthening my willpower and my faith. So there.
Uh-huh,
Anyway,
uh-huh.
and
Where
with
can where
that,
can folks find you, ma'am?
you can find me at Aggie the Barkeep over on X. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Tuesday nights doing the Cocktail Lounge with the ever suave Brad Slaker, produced by the aforementioned Jeff. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Friday nights doing He Said, She Said right here with you. Um, the second Wednesday, you and I both get together at 8 p.m. with G and Orty and Andrew for Toxic Masculinity, where I bring the drink of the evening. And Jeff and I now do a Spirited Books podcast, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on the first Monday of every month. And how about you?
Don't look for me to trap. Actually, I am off tomorrow. I have, and then Sunday I'll be back with Kingdom and Country. Hopefully, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Rick Robinson show at noon. Monday night, America Off the Rails, 10 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday night, Men Explained Poorly, 10 p.m. Eastern. And then Wednesday night, which is the last. Well, actually, I guess that's technically the first Wednesday. So, which is on the first, which is interesting. But full schedule there. And then Thursday night, hopefully Jen and Rick will be back. We didn't get a chance to connect last night, so I think she was still recovering from spring break shenanigans. And then Friday night back around with you. When I'm not doing all that, you can find me on X at RadioX73. You can follow along with the network at KLRN Radio in most places except for on Rumble, because for some reason they didn't like the name over there, so I had to go with America's Podcast Network. And you can find me as a contributor on twitchy.com, misfitspolitics.com, loftusparty.com, and I also produce the Loftus Party podcast, which drops on Tuesdays. Hi, did I mention my name's Rick Robinson? I'm a workaholic, and my last meeting was forever ago. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night, folks. Hang out for the Curse of Stephanopoulos coming up next. I'm just kidding. It's Curse of Stephanaris, but, close enough.
Good night, everyone.